What was underestimating things. This is unbelievable. What a great reception. Thank you. You know, a lot of you, I can't see it really well. I don't think I better have to shut the lights off. I wish I could see you better. But a lot of you are pretty dang new to this business. The nice part about that, and maybe the not so much nice part about that, is you haven't had a chance to hear a lot of my farmer stories. Some of you will like them, but I would predict all of you will act like you like them because that's what Team Fusion does. Right? Oh, it's great to be here. Great. And I am excited to share some of the Kyani story with you today partially because you haven't heard all of the Kyani story, at least from me. I've had a chance to speak to a few of you a little, but not all of you, hardly at all. So I'm really looking forward to this day. What I want to speak on today is why. Why Kyani? Now before I get into my presentation, as I was thinking about this, something interesting happened. In the last 17 or 18 days, I think I've been home for 3 days. And it's been 3 different trips. And when I get home, I have about 16 or 18 hours before I go on the next trip that's related to my farm business. So sometimes it isn't convenient to travel. Sometimes you might not feel really good. You can find excuses. And my wife gets a little frustrated with me sometimes because I push kind of hard. So she was just asking me, not because of this trip in general, why do you push yourself so hard? And I was just almost a little bit, not offended, but surprised that she asked that question. I mean, we've been together a long time. You know what I'm like, you know who I am, you know what the why is. And I thought, boy, I probably ought to answer that question. Why do I? So I thought about it for a little while, and that night we were sitting there watching a basketball game on TV, and I thought, I'm going to tell her why, but I'm going to be very careful. She bought me a gift for Christmas one time, and it was a book by Larry Miller, the owner of the Utah Jazz, a self-made man, and he created an empire, not just in basketball, but in a lot of areas. I was quite intrigued by him and the name of his book called Driven. So she bought me the book Driven. So it was a nice get-together, husband-wife activity. We're listening to it as we drive. And she just starts getting mad. Every time some personality trait that pulled him away from his family, and maybe he was too driven, she'd say, you're just like he is. No, I'm the good part of that. I'm different. And we got about an hour into it, and I just pulled it out and threw it away. I thought this was supposed to help us, not hurt us. So it made me reflect on why I was driven. So I said, Linda, you know how I was raised, because I've been thinking about this. And I'm a farmer. It doesn't matter if the wind's blowing, it doesn't matter if it's hot, if it's cold, if it's early, if it's late. I don't get paid by how much time I spend doing something. I get paid and rewarded by if I get the job done. And I was trained that way. I'll always be that way. That's my why. I don't want to change. It's what I have to do. It's who I am. So it helped me to reflect on my why. Now, this is my 3rd event the last couple of weeks, of some type or another. One was a rewards trip, and I've heard a lot about leadership, probably more than any other term, leadership. And really that's why we're here. We're here to learn about leadership that will help us in our business more than anything else. And I've shared this with a couple of you, but I like to define a leader a little different than I do a manager. A leader asks the question, what? Why? A manager asks the question, what? As a leader looks at what to do, he looks at the horizon. He looks at the opportunities. He's an innovator. A manager, still very necessary, but a manager looks at, what should I be doing? How can I fulfill the task? How can I carry out the fine details? And they're both important, and we both have qualities of both. But now, in meetings like this, you are learning to truly be a leader, how to be an innovator, how to see vision. And I hope that by the time you're through with this meeting of this whole homecoming, you'll catch more grasp of how to be a true leader. We have the wrong thing coming up here. So while I'm talking, we're going to change to the one that shows Carl up there. I want to talk about the why of Kyani. And I'll tie that back to this leadership. When you understand why we do the things we do, it helps you to understand what to do with that why. So I want to talk about the product first, but not the details of the product. So to understand the why of the product, understand why Kyani was formed. We came up with a great opportunity, a great product, and the Hansons and the Taylors were in love with this product. And we could see so much opportunity here. Now I'll tell you from Carl's perspective, I was doing a lot of stuff. I was a little too busy, and my wonderful wife would like me just to slow down a little bit. So I was excited about this opportunity. What I wasn't so excited about was the timing of telling Linda, we got this great idea. It's going to take a little money, and it's going to take a lot of time, but boy, is it a great idea. It's like saying, you want to see the new motorcycle I want to buy, or the new hot rod, or how many times I've said, you want to see the farm I got hooked up with that I want to buy. So I waited till the right moment. And I started to tell her about blueberries. Well, of course I would. I'm a farmer. And I started to tell her the benefits of blueberries and what I've learned about them. And she starts to tell me about the benefits of blueberries. So how do you know all this stuff? Well, she's quite health conscious. She goes over and picks a book up, which I hadn't noticed, it's been on the counter for some time, about superfoods, and starts telling me all the benefits of blueberries. And she had experienced very positive results herself from using blueberries for health issues. Oh, wow, this is going better than I thought. So I said, well, what do you think? Well, I think this is something we ought to look at pretty closely. And she said, this is what wives say, I need to think about it. Now in our household, think means a little more than just think. And it's more like, I need to see if there's some direction, some inspiration, something more than just me thinking about it. So I gave her a couple of days and said, so what do you think about this blueberry thing? And she said, you know, I have been thinking about it. And I think we should do it. But that's not the good part. She said, I think we should do it because it will help people, and it will help people a lot. Now, she knew our why. She knew it wasn't for money, it wasn't for attention. It wasn't that I wanted to get up on stage and tell really funny farm stories. Nothing to do with any of those things. It was to help people. I think that helps to understand, as Team Fusion, as long as we're around with distributors all around the world, partner with Kyani, what our why is. Now, back to the products. We do have the best products. We do. But it's not because we're so nice. That's not the reason. It's really a lot simpler than that. How do we build a long-term, viable business to go out and compete with so many other strong businesses and attract the best distributors if we don't have the best product? It is so simple. So that's what we did. And that's what we continue to do. Now, blueberries in Alaska aren't that easy to get. You're competing with cold weather, a very hostile climate, and bears. And sometimes bears win. But not with Kyani. Kyani was. So we have assembled the best products imaginable because we want a business that's successful. And we'll continue to make sure we have the best products. Well, I'm going to try this again. And I'm not responding. Okay, the second part of why Kyani I want to talk about is the founders. This is the part that makes me uneasy because it sounds like bragging, so I'll talk about the Hansons first. And then I'll talk about history. I have the best partners I could ever have. Their integrity is unquestionable, their drive is unbelievable, their business sense. I aspire to be the kind of person that Jim and Kirk Hansen are. And that's what my goal is to be. So, you have some pretty good founders. And let me tell you a little about the Hansons. They started with one little service station, you've heard this story, and they built an empire. And they did it by outworking, outthinking, and just being better at business than anyone else was. When I first met them, they weren't our supplier, but we bought a business right next to them and got acquainted with them. And we were dealing with one of the long-established businesses that have been in town, in the area for years. But pretty soon we were dealing with them. And it wasn't long until there weren't many other choices of who you could deal with. That's how good they were. Now I'll tell you a little about the Taylor's Farm. Just because you haven't had a chance to hear it yet, you've heard bits and pieces. My dad was one of 4 brothers, and his father, my grandfather, was a farmer. But he had 3 farms and 4 sons. My dad was the oldest, so when he got ready to go on his own, my grandfather said, I've got 3 farms and 4 sons, I'm not sure what to do. So my dad said, well, that's easy, I'll go get my own. So he rented 3 acres and bought 1 horse. That was the start of Taylor Farms. Now our farm is 10,000 times bigger than that now. So it has grown. I'm not a land hog, I just believe it. All I want to do is buy what borders me. And it's worked out pretty good. But to put that in perspective, we can't even park our equipment in this convention center. And it's probably about 6 or 7 acres. So our farm was his farm was about this half of the building. Now, he was an innovator himself. He let Grandpa use his horse the rest of the year, and he used Grandpa's equipment for his horse. That's how we got started. And he grew. He did a great job. He was very progressive. The boys came into the business, and we kept growing. And then there came a time, and I'll put in perspective a little about what my father was like. Nobody worked harder than we did. We were the crew, and if there were other people who worked, we had better outwork them, and we had better never quit. And that's just what you did. So there came a time of transition as he decided to retire. And he was going to sell the farm to his sons. And he met with business advisors, tax accountants, attorneys, and they were planning, how do we transition this farm without giving it all away to taxes? How do we do it so it will cash flow? All of the details. And it wasn't an easy task. And my dad was fairly simple and direct. So his advice given to him was, you need to give the farm to your sons. If you don't, you'll just lose it to taxes. Everything you work for will go to taxes. I thought, this isn't going to fly. That's not my dad. And I'm not going to quote him exactly, but you'll get to understand the message. We're sitting in an attorney's office, and he puts his thumb on his chin and says, BS. But he didn't use the abbreviation. BS. If they buy it, they'll keep it. If I give it to them, they'll lose it.
Amen.
End of conversation. He understood the meaning of sacrifice and hard work. And I've many times thought, as I've seen his brothers were reasonably successful at farming, but by the end of their careers, they had to go get other jobs. But I've often thought, and I'll compare this to the Kyani business, as you think, how do I come up with $600 or $1,300? How do I get started on this? The obstacles are too great. I thought, how grateful I am, and how wonderful the opportunity was to be limited to 1 horse and 3 acres. How much greater that was to grow and to build than being given too much. And I compare that to your business. Think about it. I can build a business off of this with only 1 horse and 3 acres. Now, I'd like to talk for a minute about compensation plan. Why compensation? I want to apologize to one of our young, industrious, go-getter leaders. Several have told me we pay too much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if we pay too much. Not everyone says that, though. There are those who are more mature, understanding business, to understand what we're doing. There's a method to our madness. It's simple. And I'll compare it to this statement. I love pie. Anybody like pie? Berry, cherry, pumpkin. I love pie. And I measure pie by how much total pie I get. It isn't by how the percentage of the pie, it's by total volume. Does that make sense? How much total pie can I have? Not, I get 2/3 of that pie. It's how much total volume. That's our philosophy. So if you'll work hard, if you'll make money, so we can make money, and we have a little bit smaller slice of the pie, we're okay. We still get pretty good volume of pie. More pie, yes. So it's simple, I like pie. Now, there's another part of it. If we didn't have that approach, would we have 5,000 people here on this short plan? No. If we have the best products and we are fair in our compensation plan, and you trust us as partners, you'll stay. You will. And I want to carry that a step further, because it's simple. It's as simple as a compensation plan. It's as simple as the products. We can't attract and keep the best leaders unless we have those elements in place. And we know that. Now, taking it a step further, I hope you feel like we treat you fair. I hope you do. If you don't, we're doing something wrong. In my other businesses, my employees feel like they're treated fair, and it's a great relationship. Now, if you feel like you're treated fair, you're going to stay. But that's not good enough to just stay. It's not good enough just to show up. What if you feel like you're treated a little more than fair? Maybe you're getting a little bigger slice of the pie than your partner has to give you. Then what do? You excel. You perform. You explode. Are we doing that? Yes, we are. Our plan's working. So I'm sorry we're overpaying you, but the expectation is you are going to work hard and smart and be leaders, and we're all going to do better. And it's working. There's a lot of other whys in Kyani. I just want to touch briefly on a couple of them. Our vision. Why do we do the things we do? Now, Kirk has stood up, and you understand Kirk's vision. He wants to dominate. 90% of the market for Team Fusion is great. You'll do it. But if you see the vision of what we're trying to do, it will help you to do the same thing we want to do. And if you want to see our vision, I'll compare it to shooting a gun. Take 2 points, the rear side and the front side, or line up 2 points when you're shooting grade or anything you're going to do, and you'll see the direction you're going. So look at the direction that the tailors and Hansons have been. Look where we're at now, and you got a pretty good idea of where we're headed. That's all. Now I've got a video I'd like to call up. One of my favorite videos, so I'd like to just take a minute and show this video.
As autumn arrives in the western United States, the serene country landscape is visited by harvesters, both man and machine. Local farmers take great pride in filling their cellars with world-renowned Idaho potatoes. A good potato harvest isn't just the result of 3 weeks of digging. It's not even the result of an entire season of careful watering and management. A good potato harvest is the result of many years of seed development, and it all starts with the nucleus seed. In the first year, it begins when a nucleus seed is grown in a protected, nurturing environment, shielded from insects and disease. It is a pure source, uncontaminated, and the essential beginning to the health of a future crop. In the second year, nucleus seeds are used to grow what we call Generation 1, or G1 seed. This is done at seed farms that are geographically isolated from other farming activities, usually in colder, higher elevations, to prevent contamination and disease. In the third year, we grow G2 seed. This is done in a separate isolated seed area many miles away. In the fourth year, G3 seed is grown. Following each of these harvests, the seed is carefully tested to ensure the plant is disease-free. In the fifth year, G4 seed is produced, which is what most farmers will finally use the following season to grow their potatoes. When a farmer inspects a healthy potato crop, he knows that its success actually began nearly 6 years ago with a pure, uncontaminated nucleus seed. The seed development process is very difficult and lengthy, but it is the best way to produce strong, healthy potato plants. The network marketing industry is, in many ways, like potato farming. When network marketing companies fail or fall apart, their framers often go on to form or join new organizations, bringing with them the same ineffective practices that led to their failure. A contaminated seed will only yield a diseased crop. Kyani is different. Kyani was formed like a nucleus seed. Free from contamination and disease, we built Kyani on a foundation of principles and ethical business practices that, for us, had already proven to be successful in our respective enterprises. This is the great differentiating factor between Kyani and many other network marketing companies. We reject the failed practices of unsuccessful organizations. We embrace and aspire to principles like integrity, dedication, loyalty, and hard work. We are building Kyani upon a foundation to last forever. Having started as a nucleus seed, Kyani will continue to honor these principles to ensure successful harvest for all of us in the Kyani family for years to come.
Please come to Idaho so you can see some of that stuff. Oh, I love big boy toys, and those are big boy toys. You know what I like about that video is it really identifies why Kyani and why it's different. There's other great companies out there, I know they are. And I know people that are involved with them, great people. But we were able to start this company, build this company, and run this company the way we felt was the right way to do it. What an opportunity that is to be able to do that. We're able to have partners that have the same vision that we do. I'm going to quote my dad another time. It's something he taught me. And when we first started in this industry, we didn't know much about it. Very, very little. Almost nothing. But we hired some good people that did know the industry, and we asked a lot of questions. But we had one upper level employee. He was a great guy, but he was so ingrained in how this industry has traditionally run. It had to be this way. And one day he's telling us, well, this is how you have to act as founders. This is what you have to do. This is what you say. And that kind of irritated me. I listened to him for a while, and I finally just stopped him. I said, just stop for a minute. Who owns this company? Well, you do. So I quoted my dad. BS. Only I didn't say BS. This is our company. That's not us. And we're going to do the way we want to do it, and we're going to do it the right way. And this is the result. One thing I've noticed, the team fusion starts, stops, runs on time. So I'm going to get down to my last couple points, and they're a little emotional. I could talk about technology. This is what I know about the technology. Every week on my cell phone, I get the updates of what's going on with technology. And I have to scroll 4, 5, and 6 times to read them, and I don't understand hardly any of them, other than we have the most unbelievable staff making sure our technology is there for you when you need it, and it will never, ever stop. I can learn math, I can learn another language, but I could never stop learning what you have to know with technology, and we are on top of that. Because that's what you have to have, that's what we have to have to stay in business. I wanted to talk a little about events and recognition. I'll just mention a couple points. Just finished a great event. What a chance to regroup. What a chance to refocus. What a chance to restart. And get to know and be trained by great leaders. Great opportunity. On some of the retreats and travel that you can experience, please come to Idaho. I have the opportunity to recognize. And I've got strong feelings about recognition. And I don't compare it to ego. I don't compare it to wanting to have attention. I like to compare it to justice. We all have a sense of justice, and it affects us in 2 ways. And it's different than ego. Justice means we get what we're entitled to. And it also means we or someone else does not get what they're not entitled to. That's justice. And that's an extension of our recognition. If you recognize someone because they've done something right, that's justice. But if you don't recognize them, that's a negative feeling. That's pushing them down. So as you walk on stage, as you accomplish things, I hope you feel like Kyani reason that we want to recognize you, to thank you for what you've done, not to get a big head, not to get a big ego, but to reward you and for justice to be served for all of your efforts. Now the last thing I'd like to talk about, and I'll just tie them together a little, and that's Caring Hands and the potato pack. Wow, and you guys did it. Thank you, you did it. We have a great car program, and I could spend 30 minutes talking about the car program, but I'm going to talk about another car. I'll just call it a vehicle. And the vehicle is Caring Hands, and it goes two ways, has two purposes. It's the vehicle that we use to help people who need help. That's what Caring Hands is. Thank you. Many times it's people we don't know, we'll never see, but they're our brothers and sisters. They need help, and that's the vehicle we have to go help them. Now the other way this vehicle works, it's the vehicle that as Kyani we use to help ourselves become better people. And that's every bit as important. That's how we share our good fortune. And we firmly believe, as founders, as corporate, as staff, as many as you do, that when you are so blessed, that you should share. And you should share with those in need. You should. Now, I get to do a lot of stuff. Run several big businesses, do a lot of travel, but I don't think I've ever had an experience any more touching or greater than going to Peru and working my fanny off, building an old school into a new school, playground equipment, seeing the smiles on kids' faces. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. I hope that each of you someday can have that kind of experience, and I appreciate your financial contributions that help us make that happen. But what a wonderful experience to help balance what I'll call the heart of Kyani. We can make comparisons to our eyes, our feet, our nose, our hands, all the parts of our body that let us accomplish things. But in Kyani, my comparison is Caring Hands is the heart of Kyani. That's what really sets us apart and makes us worthwhile. The potato pack, they're separate. They're separate, but yet they are so closely tied together. Linda and I have felt so blessed, it was a dream we'd had for years. How do we share with people in need in other countries that you can't do anything, you can't ship it, you can't process it, you can't get it to the right places? With Caring Hands and the tie-ins now with the potato pack, it's unbelievable. The places we've been able to go help people, lives that we've improved, it truly brings to my mind that people's lives we touch live better. And they live better in so many ways. So thank you for your participation in Caring Hands. Thank you as you buy the potato pack. It's not just that I want to see potatoes consumed. That's okay. I love it when you buy French fries. I love it when you buy all kinds of potatoes. Keep doing it. But thank you for your participation in seeing that same vision that the Kyani founders and Kyani staff, Kyani corporate have of how we show our appreciation for the blessings that we receive by helping others, and how important that is to our business and to our souls. And give yourself a round of applause for that. Now I run out of time before I run out of material, so I'll come back another day. How's that? Okay, I will. I just want to close with this. It was emotional for me. I already had read it before, but when I saw the 10 rules of team fusion, I thought, that's the same things I believe in. That's the same things Kyani has. That touched me of what you believe and what you help remind each other what you believe. Thank you for that, because that's the same things I believe in. And I'll leave with one last thought. That's a little play on words. As I was thinking about this event and the importance of this event, the importance of being here. We're here for an infusion for Team Fusion.